two new officers who are going to be serving on our governing board. And at this time, before the official meeting starts, we need to administer the oath of office and have them officially take their positions. So typically we have the board present. If you will administer the oath of office to them, we have some paperwork here for you. And with your permission, we'd like to put the pictures in the paper if the board members are amenable to that.
We wanted it right in front?
Yeah, right in front. Right in front would be great. So a lot of times the other board members will just watch, so they can be in the picture, just watching. Okay, so that is Kat Hansen, Dayton Flake, and
Do we have to do them individually or
you can do it together. Yeah,
they can do it together, right?
Yep. Okay. And here's their.
You got one
Is that the one you read?
I get one reading.
Is that the one you read?
Is
that it? That's not it.
No.
Just read one of those.
I don't know what to read.
I was kidding. I was totally kidding.
Sage Service School District.
Okay. Here you go. I guess that's so you can sign them or read them. So the way this will work out, basically repeat after me. I say I, but then you can say your name.
Okay.
But I don't have to say both names. Then I'll say, do you solemnly swear? Go from there. I think we raise our arm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Raise our hand. Okay, so I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona.
the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic,
That I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of Joseph City School Board Member
of Joseph City School Board Member,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you.
So you just get it. Sign here. Thank you, Mr. Larson.
Welcome. Okay, so that should bring us the call to order, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Call it 6:04, that's what my iPad says. So let's do roll call.
Eldon Larson. Kat Hansen.
Here.
Andrew Bushman. Dayton Flake. Karsten Flake.
I'm here.
Thank you for taking roll call for us. Do we have a volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I can do it. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Daryl. We have a volunteer to lead us in an invocation. Since you're standing, okay, thanks, Carson.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before Thee, give Thee thanks for the wonderful blessings that we have, for opportunities to serve. Grateful for the school district and the things, the education that it provides to the students that go here. Help us to make good decisions, to best help the school. These things we pray for in the name of thy son, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Okay, that brings us to election of board officers.
Or adopt agenda.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I skipped in that. Okay, I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Andrew. Any discussion, anything needs to be changed, switched around? Okay, call for the vote. Kat? Yes or no?
Yes.
Adopting the agenda.
Yes,
There you go.
I adopt.
Yes.
Andrew? Sorry, I'll try to be a little clearer. Dayton?
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Karsten. Myself, yes.
Takes a while.
Now we're to election of board officers.
We're just looking for a nomination for the different positions here, and then a second, and then a vote. So the positions, and I think you all know, board president and then clerk. Helps with the minutes.
So might as well start with the board president. We have a
Okay.
nomination.
I'll nominate Eldon.
I second it.
Call for a vote.
Any other nominations? Or any discussion?
As in this last little run.
Third.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's all right. You still haven't termed out, so you'll be all right.
I'm okay. I don't mind if somebody else wants it. If somebody else would like to do it, you're more than willing, but I am willing to do it.
How many more years are on your term? Do you know offhand? So this
2.
year and then,
This year and one more after this. Yep. All right. Let's call for the vote.
Yep.
Andrew, Dayton?
Yes.
Yes. Kirsten? I'm gonna abstain. And Kat?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any nominations for clerk? I'll nominate Karsten.
I was gonna say, I would say Kat, but I don't want to throw her under the bus on a
Yeah,
first
please
name.
give me a minute.
Let her have a year to get.
But I'll second
Yeah.
Karsten on that one.
Are you okay with that?
Can people read my handwriting?
This is a school district. They,
We can read our kids' handwriting.
Good. All right. Call for the vote. Myself, yes. Kat?
Yes.
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 Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Well, that went smoother than sometimes. Thank you all for serving on the board. I appreciate it. That moves us to, okay, yeah, approve the regular board meeting dates and times for 2023. I'll make a motion that we approve having our regular board meeting on the second Tuesday at 6 p.m. of each month.
I'll second.
Seems to be working out okay. Does anybody? Yes. All right. Call for the vote. Dayton? Yes. Karsten?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Kat?
Yes.
And Andrew? Sounds like we're doing second Tuesday, 6 o'clock as usual. And I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the December 13th, 2022 regular board meeting. Did anybody see anything in there? Or can I have a second? I'll second. Thank
Who
you,
was that, Dayton?
Anybody see anything in there needed changed? Looked okay to me. Okay, call for the vote. Karsten?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. And you weren't there, so we can,
No, that wasn't there.
Yes.
Andrew and Dayton. Yes. Thank you. All right. That brings us to superintendent's report. Mr. Fields.
thank you. Most valuable thing any of us have to give of ourselves to our time. So I do appreciate all you guys stepping forward, even if we disagree or whatever, just that the service that you're providing the community. Thank you guys. I'm going to defer part of my report to our food service, but I do want to make a comment before. So the attorney is scheduled to be on the line for us at 6:15. So if we don't finish this, maybe we could have a motion to move to go to that. You know, we'll give John some time here. John, if you can't finish, we'll let you have some more time during the item where we have lunch increase. we could turn some time over at that to you. But, so I would like us to try and get into the executive session by 6. I'd probably cut that too close, but
Hey, would you, if it is 6:10 now, would you like us to just go and move into the executive session, then we can come back and you can get the whole?
well, let's go ahead and see what John, how far he can get in his report, if you don't mind. I don't think it's gonna be that long. He's just gonna give you a quick summary. And then, the attorney, has about 5-minute cushion or so it won't be a problem.
Okay.
Supervised financials, the second page was good. The financials actually got a little better, so that's actually a win.
Mr. President, board members, every year we get involved with BIC around this time. The last 2 years, it's been really easy. I've just had to give you this spreadsheet, and the government was giving us enough money per breakfast that we were making hand over fist. So, but this year we've gone back to paid, free, and reduced. And obviously you're seeing what I'm generating here is that we've served 9,946 BICs at the elementary. Based off our free and reduced status and who's eating, we're getting about $1.52 per meal, because more free kids are eating than paid, or more paid kids are, it's about 50-50 at the elementary school. The high school, we've served 94.17. We're getting about $1.19. About 66% of the meals at the high school are paid kids. So the district only gets 50 cents per breakfast for a paid kid. So that makes it a challenge. Looking at the labor costs, is the same number I gave you last year. That's just the 2 hours to pack it, 2 hours to go pick it out. I mean, just overall 4 hours it takes extra that you're doing for BIC. And then the additional food costs, because they're required to take every piece of the meal, and they can't, it's not offer versus serve, it costs extra money to serve BIC. So, in reality, so a few things that we are looking at with BIC is the junior high school. The first thing that we are working on is trying to increase the free and reduced percent. We are sitting at 26% free and reduced. So that's why 66% of the meals are coming in at paid. So we're going to try talk to Selena and Steve about making a push to try to get more applications up at the high school.
So if you can, John, if I could just interject real quick in case, and we do have a new board member. So BIC means breakfast in the classroom, if you didn't know. When we talk about those numbers, we believe it's a matter of just people filling out the application. There's some evidence that points to that. So if that's the case, a push to get more people that would be, since the food's been free the past few years, fewer applications have been submitted specifically in high school. So that's what this is a reference to, the numbers pushing for applications. The reimbursement rate is higher for for the school, for students who qualify.
For a free kid, we get $2.67. For a paid kid, we get 50 cents. So we would like to get as many free kids as we could in order to make this budget work out where it balances. The second thing that we have on the high school and junior high is to work with the district on ensuring accurate meal counts. We switched to a system that the teachers now put in the breakfast in the classroom when they do attendance. We're currently sending up about 250 breakfasts every morning to the high school, and we get about 20 to 40 back, which means our number should be around 210, and on a daily basis, it's more around 150, 160. So we did a training last week with the teachers. Julie Mills did a training with the teachers to reiterate with them on how to properly, place the BICs into the computer system. I feel like we're under accounting for our meals at the high school. So that's
How much time does it take out of our teachers who are paid to teach, not to feed, to do all that extra mumbo jumbo?
Understand. I agree. My understanding, and that'd be something on the district side. My understanding is when they click the attendance button, there's a button they click next to it that says they took a meal. It's one extra click.
Mr. Mosier, have you seen the actual process?
45 seconds.
It is some stress. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not. It probably hurts complaints from.
We have attendance and breakfast, so here, yes, we're just going down, clicking the buttons.
Yeah.
So they're clicking for attendance anyway, they just have to click
Or
an
roll
extra
call.
button?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So that's the second part of the high school. The third part of the high school is just making sure we had teachers say, when we had our training last week, we had teachers saying that their classrooms weren't receiving the proper amount of meals for all the students in their classroom. So we printed rosters out starting this week and are ensuring that the right amount of meals get out to every classroom so that every student has an opportunity to take a BIC breakfast. At the elementary school, our teachers are doing much better. Their counts are, we send out about 155. We get about 15 to 20, and our average so far is 127. So we're pretty much right on where we're supposed to be with the elementary school. The other thing is, again, ensuring the proper amount of meals are going out, just so that everybody has a chance to get one, because that's part of the requirement with BIC. The second thing that I have talked to Mr. Mosier about is, how are we going to account for it? If there's a sub that doesn't know how the system works, how are we accounting for those classrooms that have a substitute teacher that don't know how to record the breakfast? So that's something that me and him have discussed in the last week. Overall BIC program, I have, we're going to continue to obtain government surplus of food that comes in at a free amount of money so it can offset the food costs. And we're also going to continue to try to provide the best variety that we can while managing food costs. And we're going to work with the district. And there are some other programs out there. There's a Provision 2 program, maybe, that if we can't get the free and reduced percent up to where it needs to be at the high school, there are other programs out there that we're going to investigate, that maybe the elementary stay on DIC, and maybe there's a better option out there for the high school in terms of getting them more choices, and yet it still be free for everybody. So that's kind of where we're at.
You ever thought about maybe improving what the breakfasts are so they'll be more desirable to eat?
I definitely agree. I mean, and some of that is within the food cost aspect of, the cost of food has skyrocketed. And then, I try to run the program at a break even. Which I'm not doing as well this year, but I try to run it at a break even cost. And so therefore 2 cereals a week and, a muffin and then a hot entree is what I try to do in a 4-day week.
And see, I've got a text from somebody that said, come eat breakfast at school, basically. They showed a granola bar and a juice box.
Okay, they should have got a milk, and they should have. So I will follow up with Sierra, because everybody should get a milk every day, and everybody should get a cup of fruit, and everybody should get an entree. That would be what technically it counts as a meal. So
What's the typical entree?
a typical entree would be, like I said, usually when I'm menuing it, it's Monday, Thursdays a cereal and then with a graham cracker, and then Tuesdays usually a muffin or some sort of banana loaf or banana bread, and then Wednesdays some sort of hot entree, a burrito or a breakfast. That's typically the way I write my menus, and I can follow up if that's not how it's being executed. So,
Well, like I said, I've got some children in there, so, and they know my opinion. I'm not a breakfast fan. I think the school's overstepping their bounds. We're here to educate, not to feed.
Mhm.
So I'm anti,
okay.
straight up.
Okay.
But so I do ask my kids, so what was the breakfast menu? And it doesn't sound near as tasty as what you're
Okay.
presenting to us.
Well, I will follow up. That's what's written in the menu, so I will follow up with Sierra on whether that is. I'm not here in the morning for BIC, but I will follow up with her and find out. I know I saw today they were putting a apple frudel, so it's like basically an apple-filled pastry that's going out for tomorrow's breakfast. So I haven't necessarily seen the granola bar, but I do believe that it's happening, and I'm putting a decent amount of pressure on her to control food costs, so she may be taking it a little too far.
We sure appreciate your time and report here, and we're welcome to stick around. I don't know if the board would like you to or not, but it is my report, so I would like to recommend that we make a motion to go into executive. They'll have to vote only for item 6A, and that way we can get right back to the agenda, just to keep the attorney appointment that we have.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session for item 6A.
I'll second.
And go for a vote. Myself, yes. Kat?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Peyton?
Yes.
Karsten?
Yes.
All right, that would be 6:20.
Karsten, there's an executive session form in the yellow folder that you take in. If you can't find it, I have one.
Andrew and Orange this week.
Would it be just one page?
Mm-hmm. And it's on letterhead.
We're gonna change our mascot.
In the yellow one, you said?
Yeah. Let me get it for you. It might be under the minute.
So we call the meeting back to order at 7:19.
Correct.
And we'll continue on with superintendent's report.
Um,
I know we review every year, but there's like because I really think there's got to be a more efficient way to do that. Losing $7,000.
Yeah, and that, there is more cost than that, so we pay for their service, and then that's on top of it.
So that $7,000 is just breakfast in the classroom, correct?
The report,
I mean, that's the way I read it. It's
Everything's
just
BIC.
just breakfast in the classroom. So if I remember correctly, this is something, if you could please find out for us.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, we started breakfast in the classroom because they said that would get more meals out there and it would help us to lose less money.
Offset the lunch loss.
Yes, it was going to offset. Thank you, Angie. You remember that really well. Offset the lunch loss. Well, if we're losing $7,000, because this is the first time I've ever seen that we were losing money for breakfast in the classroom. Has this gone the other way now, and it's actually causing us to lose more money than if we didn't have it?
at this point, yes,
Okay,
but, you know, you remember why.
I remember why.
It's because, at the point when we started it, we had more people in the free and reduced program. If we had more people in the free and reduced program, students, the profit and loss margin would be a lot different, as it was years back, you know. And then through COVID, with a lot of the subsidies or free things, we were okay. And
Well, they were paying for everything during COVID.
with the meals.
Yeah, the government was
Yeah.
paying for all the meals during COVID.
So if our free and reduced numbers were what they were prior to COVID, we wouldn't have that loss. So one of the options, to go back to one of the things Andrew said, you know, there's got to be a better way. One of the possibilities, he alluded to it, he didn't come out and say it, is grab and go. So instead of it in the classroom, they can set up a system where they document grab and go. So kids would grab it like when they walk in the front lobby. That's one thing they could do to keep those costs down.
I think that would be a phenomenal idea, because I really think, and I'm going to do some research on it myself unless someone throws a fit. I'm going to go sit in there and see how long it really takes and what it does, because the feedback I get from talking to different teachers is it's not as simple as they make it sound to us in the class, us here.
We have one here. Is it all right if I ask her? How does it go in your room, and how do you like it?
So, I was informed last week that I've been doing it incorrectly for 2.5 years.
Oh.
So I would get the bin around 7:15 in the morning. I'm there at 6:30 because that's when my prep hour starts. It's from 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning because I teach 7 classes. So I unload everything out of the bin into a container, throw my cooler outside, and as kids come in, they would just grab grab food, go eat in the hall, whatever. Class starts at 8 o'clock. I would look around, whoever's eating, I would just mark it. And so it was not interfering with my class time because they were eating before class even started. So I was now informed the way I have to do it is I have to grab the food and ask who wants this. So as they're doing their bell work, we're waiting for morning announcements, I am passing it out to the kids. And I give them one of everything. Before, I just left the food, and whoever wanted it, they would graze on it. You know, and when they were done with class, they'd grab another whatever, because really it's not much food because it's juniors that I have first hour. And so I was informed I did it wrong, so now I'm doing it differently. I've noticed that now that the way that I'm doing it, my regulars, I've got 2 regulars that aren't eating. So I don't know what that means. But yes, now it's getting into my time. I have a concern. I'm in a chemistry room, so my chemistry lab is obviously separate than the desk, but still. I mean, typically have labs every Thursday. Now they're eating, which is going into lab time. And you know that students aren't the best about washing their hands, even though I make them wash their hands. And once you're in the lab, you're in the lab. When you wash your hands, then you leave the lab, Like, none of this back and forth crap. I have a problem with food in my room. I have biological stuff. Like this semester, we're, hearts and lungs and rats. And I'm sorry, germs have legs. And you can disinfect all you want, but they stink. So I don't allow any of my other students to eat in my room because of that. But now I have to do breakfast in the classroom. So I have a sanitary problem with it. I have no choice.
I appreciate that info.
That's just me. That's just my opinion.
Where would the grab and go?
In our lobby, we think, well,
Isn't there,
that straight from.
it's not a cafeteria, but there's a place with tables in it, right? Where they could go in and eat? If they
It might
want.
be they might have it in that
If
cafeteria.
it's just a sack lunch with a granola bar and a thing, they could have a table right as you walk in the door and just,
But I'm just saying, if they wanted to go grab it and go sit somewhere to eat, they could
So,
go in there for a
Real
little
quick. So do you think now that you have to ask each one individually if they want it, that there's not as many eating? That's what is
Yes,
that what I'm inferring from that?
yes.
embarrassing them a little bit.
There's one of them is a Naomi House kid.
Right.
Always used to eat, but now he won't.
Yeah. So it's embarrassing to say, yes, I would like some food is what we're thinking.
And honestly, what he reported, and what I see and what he reported is completely different.
So how
I
would
haven't
you,
seen a hot meal since my first year of teaching, and that was 2000, 2001. It's usually a little tiny juice box, a granola bar, or a cereal bar. Sometimes it's like these pastry things. From a science standpoint, you feed a kid sugar like that in the morning, they're going to be hungry later. You feed them protein, they're not going to be hungry. So they eat this, and then they're hungrier later. But then they were eating all of it when I just let them graze.
right?
So how much waste is there?
So before, when I was just letting them graze, it was all gone by third hour. So there was nothing wasted. Now that it's much more strict in accounting, so I take whatever is left over and I put it out in the hall in the cooler. I've heard rumors that there is stealing, because they don't get picked up in a timely manner sometimes, and kids will steal it, which then makes my numbers off. But there was never waste. Now, in the past, they would give the high schoolers milk. High schoolers do not touch milk, and I was throwing milk away. So I emailed Sierra, I'm just like, FYI, I'm throwing it all away, because I can't send it back, because now it's warm. But all the other stuff I send back now, because they're all shelf stable, so it doesn't matter. It's not going bad or getting wasted. And I told him, I'm sorry, it never happened. But when they give us the hot food, it usually doesn't get eaten, which means it was hot, now it's cooled down, we can't send it back because they can't reuse it. They have to throw it away. And so I know elementary school is a completely different beast than where I am.
And I was gonna say, so if we did a grab and go at the high school, we wouldn't have to necessarily change at the elementary, so we could try it up there if, that's where we're
But
losing.
if you're going to do a grab and go, it sounds like you're going to have to specifically ask. It's not like they can just walk by and you're going to have to specifically say, are you taking one, and then mark them down as they take it.
It's a little bit of a mixed message, because that's what Steve told me, and he's been our contact with them. He said that they would just have somebody documenting that there, and as the kids take it,
And that's another aide or something that's there checking them off, and they have to know all the kids.
I don't understand the difference. Before, it was all getting taken. Why not just mark everybody that was there today took one?
I don't have an answer for that. That would have been a good question for John.
Seems like it'd be way easier just say, hey, it's all gone, everybody took one.
That's what we do basically down here.
That's what the elementary does basically down here?
If they're absent, so we don't mark it. It's not taken.
Right.
There are some that won't take it.
That's right. I threaten my kids if they take it.
But there's others that probably take double that, maybe.
Some will take it and not eat it, and share it.
Right.
That's grazed, is that the word?
I use the word graze, sorry.
If they take it, that we were counting them. So, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to count a kid that takes but whatever the logistics are, it sounds.
Well, if you lose 100 meals, whether one guy ate 2 of them or 100 people did, you still went through 100 meals.
Yeah.
And if they're as big as they're saying they are,
I don't think it's a lot of food, no. But next month I'll come back with information on that grab and go option for you, Mr. Bushman, if that sounds good.
I just think we need to look at other alternatives, because if it's just a granola bar and a thing where they're taking 4 hours to prepare.
There's a fruit in ours, so.
But I haven't seen fruit in probably since October.
We always get a fruit.
Like a fruit cup or something like that. Legally, it's supposed to be some kind of fruit, I think.
Mandarin oranges today, and we love them.
I will also find out the contract when it's due. It seems like it was a 5-year when it was approved, and I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. But I will have that. I can email that to you before the next meeting. And then I'll look at the grab and go option as an alternative that maybe we could implement this year to mitigate those losses and help the teachers if there's some serious concerns like that. It's an important issue. We wouldn't spend time on it, you know, with there are some hungry kids and some concerns there. So.
I just want to say too that I think doing it differently between the 2 schools might be a good idea, because teenagers are different in those situations than elementary kids. And like Jess said, if it's being, you know, attention drawn to, there might be some kind of stigma there or whatever. And if it's a little more anonymous and not so noticeable, then the purpose of it might be better served.
Good point. Yeah, I like that.
I did. Because my bin was right in front of the door, so everybody walked by it. And on the way out, I had kids leaving my first hour and sticking stuff in their pockets. And honestly, when it's a Naomi House kid, take as much as you want, in my opinion. So
it might as well get used.
Yeah, it's been thrown away.
This option might get it out of the classroom too, with some of those concerns about, you know, sanitation and all that. So I'll get that to you and our contract.
The only problem that I see with that is considering the email that we got sent from our high school principal about tardies and stuff. And since I dropped my own kids off with maybe seconds before the bell, I think that junior high, high school, you'd be hard pressed to get the majority. I mean, you're going to have a lot of kids, and it's probably the kids that might need a breakfast that are getting there just as the bell rings, and they're not going to have time to go to a grab and go before they go to class. That's a thought.
Well, if it's by the front door and they're walking in.
Everyone's supposed to enter that one door.
Yeah, they go in the front door.
Well, all your band kids don't. They go to the auditorium.
True.
That's where I drop my kids off, and I know there's kids that go around the other side too.
Bus students, we try not to mark late if it's because of the bus. You know, they leave a lot sooner than some of our in-town people. So,
well, maybe a cooler could be sent to the auditorium.
Yeah, right now they're putting one at every classroom.
Yeah,
2
one to
locations.
the auditorium and the rest by the front door where the rest of them have to enter.
doesn't hurt to look at it or try it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try. I would think it might be tougher that way, because I know I've seen an awful lot of kids making a dash for the door
Mm-hmm.
as the bell rings.
As first bell rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to help kids get responsible in making it to school on time, but bus is sometimes beyond their control. So as you know, I did notify you guys all, if you got your email, about we did have a bus accident today. I could speak generally to that.
Is there any update other than what you sent us?
No, the investigation isn't complete. There's some testing they have to do with the driver, and then we have to hear back from law enforcement, that, the person that didn't drive today anymore, of course, our employee, and he's not gonna drive until they hear from me. I'll contact Deo for that. But he will be at work tomorrow doing some non-driving responsibilities. The other employee that was involved, I think had some, health concerns from the incident, and we're working with her to get back to work when she can.
Can I ask a policy question on that?
Sure.
Because I was asked by a concerned parent. What is the school's policy when there's an accident, there's a busload of kids? Does each individual kid get checked out, or just the ones that say, I'm ouchie?
Yep.
Because we don't have to look very long ago to find out that we think things are all good, and then all of a sudden we're in a hospital. So how do we make sure, on our liability standpoint, that we check out every kid?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and the team came together this morning for some good help. So I'm not saying we handled it perfectly, or maybe we didn't. The insurance should give us some guidance on it. In this specific case, so to answer the first part of your question, no, there's not a policy that says we check out every kid that was on the bus. Doesn't mean we don't, though. We could. We had, in this case, it was relatively low impact accident, and one student was saying their knees hurt, and so we had the nurse check out that. Mr. Mills arrived at the scene before I did, and actually took the students and up from the bus and walked them into the campus. Mr. Moser was involved with that too. He was helping to cover preschool in this. But that was to get them in out of the cold and out of the bus. So, and then we found out that there was a child that also had hit his head, evidently. And so he went in to tell the nurse to also check that student out. And by the time he did that, the teacher had already sent that student in. But according to what he told, or what he gathered from the students when he walked them in, everyone was fine. And he, instead of making it more like a hysterical thing where how many of you are hurt, and then everyone's raising their hand, it becomes a huge disruption. Tried to play it like let's notify the teachers of the classes they're in and see what, because we didn't think there were many serious injuries from it with the students. Now, if the insurance tells us that we didn't do that right, I definitely will let you know, and we'll get something in writing in place that we would check it out every student. Am I forgetting anything with that? Oh yeah, we kind of, yeah.
We did check all the students. Nurse checked.
She did eventually check them all. Yeah.
And all the parents were notified?
All were notified, some grandmas.
And what were the parents told? Just curious.
So very specific. We talked about, like I said, we want to give them the facts straight. Mr. Moser, like the two that we first sent to the nurse, they checked them out. Those parents checked them out, and that's perfectly fine. But go ahead and tell them.
The parents were grateful of how that was handled, for things on that. So it said your student was involved in a minor accident at the four-way stop sign here on campus. Your child seems fine at this time.
Yeah, let us know.
Did we have any parents that came in and asked questions or were concerned at all?
Those two came and checked their kids out, and that's.
There was one parent that was working in a factory, side of a building, and didn't get the message very clearly. That kind of freaked her out. But I contacted her personally.
I was very happy with how the team responded to this incident. Steve was right there doing a great job. Mr. Moser, Deo, Julie came out on the scene to help with the employee and offered some comfort out there. People really stepped up. It's very unfortunate that it happened. Wish it wouldn't have. So I don't know if you want me to do anything else on that, but, so our insurance should also give us some guidance on, you know, but it's not written in our policy that we would check out every single student. They didn't have, most of them were sitting down like they're supposed to, and then, one with the knee was right behind the driver.
Yeah, it's not that I know what the right answer is, just that was concern, and I'm like, the parents are notified, and if there's additional concern, then they can come get their kid and figure it out.
That's good. Okay, so.
I just want to make sure on the liability aspect of it that we've done our due diligence.
Yeah, we did follow the law. I know that. There's specific laws when a school bus gets in an accident. And well, at least this point, we have 72 hours to get a written report to DPS using their forms. And I haven't received that from Dale yet, but either he needs to give me that or I need to complete it myself. So, and then a phone call right away. And all those protocols we followed. All right, and just going on the rest of my report here. So we're working on some other roofs, as you can see. Coverage for the classes, so it's a little different than what I talked about at the last meeting. But you can see that here, and I can answer any questions we have. I'm excited about this ASU co-teacher we have in the 11th and 12th grade English. I think that was a good move for us to help our long-term sub. So that's what they call like a synchronous class once a week. The teacher will be live with the students and working with the teacher for the other 4 or 3 days and all that. But elementary tutoring, we have that coming up. The business office has also finished the what they call the work calendar. So we approved the district calendar, but all the work days of the 10-month, 12-month classified, certified employees, they've got that all done. And we've reviewed it with the management team. Like I mentioned, the elementary tutoring, our new ticket system is in place. And I wrote this, I didn't have all the information, but it was a big hit up there. We had at the wrestling tournament, they said almost half of the people that paid to get in used their credit cards instead of cash. So it went real good. The ticket takers liked it. And I heard good things from it.
Very accurate.
Awesome.
It'll be a lot more convenient.
Oh, enrollment numbers. So there was discussion last month of, that about where our enrollment was and what had been said in the past. So I actually included as part of my attachment what the enrollment was in the first semester. So if you're interested, you can look at that, or I could take you through it, whatever. That's
looks what you got there looks pretty flat. I don't see the 300 or the 31.
let me pull it up.
I don't see the
No, I didn't see any.
I don't see where 31
So
kids
the
is
enrollment numbers.
coming.
So it goes from October through the end of December. So if there was a discrepancy from, what we talked about last month, I think it was from the summer to October 1st. One of those meetings must have been when some of those comments were said about our enrollments not gone down at all. This is stable, but October 1st through the end of the semester.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if that answers everything you had on that.
Well, that's pretty much the exact information I was asking for.
Yeah, the
It
second
would have been nice maybe to go back to August, but it's okay. As long as we can see this going on forward so we have an idea.
So the second page has the enrollment and a little chart that's easy to read. 1215, 205, 137, and 118. I don't think that included the preschool, so that's our enrollment. Which is 60. Right.
Is that it for your report?
Yeah, unless you have any
Does
questions
anybody have any questions?
or want me to update you on anything.
Okay, that moves, thank you, Mr. Fields, for the information. That brings us to call to the public. Is there anybody? That's good, I don't have to read that. That brings us to the consent agenda. That's item number 4. It's 4A through 4D. So 4 alpha through 4 delta. There's my APS coming in for you. I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items as listed. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dayton. Any discussion needed? Okay, call for the vote. Kat?
Yes.
And Andrew?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Carson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Thank you. That brings us to item 6, 6A. Discussion and possible action regarding intervention in APS rate case. I'll make a motion that we approve the intervention in the APS rate case. Discussion needed. Okay. Yeah, Kat did.
I want it to be included in our, yes, in our motion, that when it gets to that point that we get informed as to what this people who decided have decided before it gets turned in or whatever else.
So you want to make sure that we still have an option to say, no, we're
Yes.
not doing that, not just give them a,
With the option that we approve it again, either we're backing out or yes, we're going through with what was decided. I want that to be part of this, the situation, the deal, the motion, whatever. It is,
He would amend his motion to
I would have
say
to
that.
amend the motion, so it would, the question is, if we already have these people putting time in, and we're paying for them to put time in, is it then possible to come back and say, never mind? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure it's
we still have to
possible,
pay
is
'em.
that what we want? Yeah, we'd still have to pay them, but.
Yeah, they might bring that up. Yeah, they might, it could bring, I guess, they could bring that up. So one thing, if we did it just like how I think you said that, board may have to do an extra meeting if that would.
I'm fine with that. I'd rather know what we're presenting than not know what we're presenting, is what I'm saying.
Then I mean, hopefully I'm not speaking out of line from their side, but I don't see that would be a big problem, but it's just my opinion. I don't see where they would object to it. I think we're gonna be looking at those things that were discussed, the overrides or bond potential, maybe some internet service, that impact over so many years. But if you amend it and you have to approve it, so if you don't approve it, I mean, are you gonna come up with an alternative amount and stuff, and based on what? These guys are basing their stuff on.
That's kind of was my point, not to, I mean, I don't want to step on anybody, but if we're going to approve them to go ahead and set up a thing for the intervention, they're experts and I'm not. So
I'm not saying let's
We're
change
kinda-
it. I want to know what it is before we go in.
So you just want to know what it is before going in, or do you want to be able to
Control.
say, control what it is going in.
No, I don't want to control what it is going in, but I want to see what it is and then have, yes, let's go forward with it. I don't like this. And if I remember correctly, we were told we can get out of it too.
Yeah, get out of it, like, say, never mind at any time. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. And so could our insurance. If they don't like the way things are going, they're saying, we're not
Cool.
funding it, and then it's over, because I don't
Yeah.
know who's gonna pay for it. So somebody from our district would have to sign off on whatever letter we send on a intervention.
Mhm.
So that is gonna more likely than not be me, unless you guys pick somebody else. So I can, you know, we can do that however you guys want. Leave it up to me and I inform you. We can say if there's not 3 or more that disagree with it through whatever, or we can do it.
Well, let me ask this, is it legally, can we approve the intervention now and then say, we want to know what it's going to be,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then we could say, well, let's put it onto the next agenda. We'll put it on the agenda or have it, so let's say we don't like what it is. Then we could put it on an agenda item to come back and say, no, we're not doing that.
sure. I don't see a problem with any of that.
So does that have to be in this motion to do that?
No,
Or can we, that's
I can
what
make
make
it- we
later
can do
say
that
we could
anyway,
put it on
correct?
an agenda anyway, correct?
I won't sign anything till it comes to you again. If that's, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Well, if we're a client of this law firm, is that how it works anyway?
yeah, we
You
have
can't
to.
do something
They
on our
can't do it
behalf
without
that
us
we're not
saying,
okay
yeah.
with.
Yeah. But usually I don't know if the board gets involved in that much of the detail, but this is a big thing, so I don't mind at all.
I'm not saying call me and ask me what I want. I'm just saying I want to see.
Like when we put that
What it is.
application in February, if this gets approved, you want to know prior to when I sign off on that application, what the details are, so you guys have some input or you can provide feedback. Yeah, I got it. Like, we could do that without amending
Is
the
that
motion.
correct? Is that what you're
Yeah.
looking for? Okay, so we can stick with the emotion. Emotion.
No emotion.
No emotion. What is the word I'm looking for? Motion, just motion. We can stick with the motion that's already been, thank you.
Motion on the table.
The motion that's out there already. Okay. Any other discussion? I think we've already discussed it quite a bit. Okay, call for a vote. Andrew?
No.
Dayton?
Yes.
Karsten?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Kat?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go, that brings us to 6B. I'm not sure how to motion this one.
Motion to go in executive session. The thought was that we'd do it all in one executive session, but that didn't work
Oh,
out.
but we came back, okay.
So it'd just be going to executive
So
session.
I will make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss superintendent contract.
Do you have another one of those papers?
And Dayton seconded it. And that is, oh, go for the vote, Dayton. Carson.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Kat. Andrew. Okay, 7:53, going into executive session again.
We all gonna get bored out here now.
We should have like a little cable TV set up or something.
Give them a game to watch.
Give them a game or something.